Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The US is considering imposing new COVID restrictions on Chinese arrivals after Beijing announced it would reopen its borders next month. American officials say this is due to a lack of transparency surrounding the virus in China as cases surge. Japan, Malaysia and Taiwan, worried at importing COVID cases, have already outlined tighter measures for Chinese travellers, including negative tests. Beijing has said COVID rules should be brought in on a scientific basis. Meanwhile, Hong Kong is dropping almost all its COVID regulations this week, following a similar move by mainland China. From Thursday, people arriving in the city will no longer have to do a mandatory PCR test. The vaccine pass system will also be scrapped, but compulsory masks in public places will continue. It is a dramatic move by the city, which once had some of the toughest restrictions in the world. The CEO of Southwest Airlines has said he is truly sorry for flight disruptions. Bob Jordan said the airline would continue to operate a reduced schedule and hope to be back on track next week. Thousands of Southwest flights have been cancelled as the low-cost carrier struggled to recover from harsh winter weather that has wrecked holiday plans for many. An Arctic blast and a massive winter storm dubbed Elliott swept over much of the United States in the lead-up to the Christmas holiday weekend, forcing Southwest to scrap more than 12,000 flights since Friday.
I want everyone who is dealing with the problems we've been facing, whether you haven't been able to get to where you need to go, or you're one of our heroic employees caught up in a massive effort to stabilize the airline, to know is that we're doing everything we can to return to a normal operation. And please also hear that I'm truly sorry. Here's why this giant puzzle is taking us several days to solve. Southwest is the largest carrier in the country, not only because of our value and our values, but because we build our flight schedule around communities, not hubs. With our large fleet of airplanes and flight crews out of position in dozens of locations, and after days of trying to operate as much of our full schedule across the busy holiday weekend, we reached a decision point to significantly reduce our flying to catch up.
Pope Francis has said former Pope Benedict XVI is very ill and he has asked his pilgrims at the Vatican to pray for him. Benedict became the first leader of the Catholic Church to stand down in 600 years in 2013, citing advanced age. At the end of the Pope's final audience of the year, he asked people to pray a special prayer for Pope Emeritus Benedict. The Vatican then said the 95-year-old ex-Pope's health had worsened in recent hours.
Well, the fact that the Pope mentioned the situation of the Pope Benedict this morning in the audience is a sign that it is, we are in a very serious situation. It's the very first time that the Pope Francis talked about the Pope Benedict like that, using this word, saying that he is very ill, so we can take it as a very serious alert concerning his situation, in his health situation in particular.
Kosovo has closed its biggest border crossing with Serbia after protesters blocked it on the Serbian side. Here, drone footage of another roadblock in Serbia. Since December the 10th, Kosovo Serbs in the northern part of the country have exchanged fire with police and erected more than 10 roadblocks in and around Mitrovica. Tensions between Belgrade and Pristina have been running high since last month, when representatives of ethnic Serbs in the north of Kosovo left state institutions, including the police and judiciary, over the Kosovo government's decision to replace Serbian-issued car license plates. Huge plumes of smoke have been seen rising from a blaze at the Carden refinery in Venezuela. A video posted on the internet showed the extent of the fire. Sources at the facility said there were no injuries and operations at the refinery continued as normal. An investigation has started into the cause. And an Iranian chess player has taken part in an international tournament in Kazakhstan without a hijab for the second day. Sara Kadem is taking part in the World Rapid and Blitz Chess Championships in Almaty in Kazakhstan. Iran has been swept by demonstrations after a 22-year-old woman died in the custody of morality police who detained her for inappropriate attire. Laws enforcing mandatory hijabs have become a flashpoint during the protests, with a string of sportswomen competing overseas appearing without their headscarves in public. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.